Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to our first TNEC Community Pool Subcommittee meeting. What do we have on with us? I see Sean is there, Deputy Mayor Organ, Mayor Schwartz. I know Doug is also hosting with us. We have Deputy Manager Anthony Burley with us in the conference room. I don't know, Sean, do you have anyone else with you? I also have our DPW Director, Javon Romeo, with us today.
Just me. Virginia's listening in.
Okay, wonderful.
Morning.
So to start today, we do have some items to go through, general topics. I know Sean has a laundry list of things that he's been collecting over the first season that we'd like to go over. Some items, get some feedback, things we want to discuss. Feel free to chime in at any time to give us your feedback. I think we had a great first season. We have a lot of things on our agenda to bring the pool up to speed, have some renovations in mind, some ideas for our second season. Obviously, some items will be capital items. Currently, to date, we have left in our balance $358,128.83 left in our capital expenditures to use before our next season. So we will be obviously putting some more funding aside to do some other upgrades, but we are going to spend wisely to open the pool for the second season with some new upgrades. So with that, Sean, if you'd like to start with our, I know you had some items in terms of the facility in itself. I don't know if the mayor, deputy mayor would like us to start with something specific. We can do that as well.
As you wish. I just wanted to make a comment that everybody that was at the pool, some people had constructive criticism for a few things, but they all started with, it was a wonderful summer. They loved the energy. They loved what was going on there. They loved Garrett. So if we could relay a job well done to him, and from us, a huge thank you to Trayvon and Sean for everything your departments did. I think it was an overall resounding success.
Thank you. Yeah, I do think it was a very good season. This was not easy to get everything ready, but we did it. Big thanks to Trayvon and Jacqueline for approving the things that needed to be approved, getting the things throughout the season that we needed. And of course, big thanks to Garrett, because he was excellent. I heard not one bad thing about him. Always listening to the residents and what they had to say, took in what they had related to us. And, as Jacqueline mentioned, I did keep a folder of all the things that, all the recommendations, and things to discuss to hopefully make it better. So with that, I will start. The first thing on the agenda was the membership fees. So this year we had a $150 registration fee for residents and a $50 membership fee on top of that. For non-residents, it was $300 registration fee and $50 membership fee. For guest passes, it was $15 across the board. Does anyone have any comments on the registration fees for next year?
I think that for some people it was a lot to swallow, but I think everybody has adjusted to it, and I would say let's leave it as is.
Yeah, I'm gonna second that. Well, that's the easiest way to clear up shortfalls, but we expected shortfalls, and then we hit them with that big hit, that big jump, and let's keep it this year. And as we constantly improve the pool, we can look at that towards future years.
And I would circle back to guest passes. I know we had a lot of comments on that and rolling them over, but unless you want to discuss that now.
Yeah, that's on an item for a little bit later on.
Okay.
Something that came up was, at what age do we start not charging children? So we had a couple infants come to the pool. Are we going to make them buy a guest pass for a 6-month-old or a 1-year-old? So that came up a couple times throughout the season. My personal feeling is if it's an infant, we should not be charging them. Also, we had at age 3 and up was the $50 fee. Under 3 was $25 for the season. My feeling is maybe we should have one fee, maybe age 2 and up, just keep it a flat $50 fee. I don't know what everyone's thoughts are on that.
I think that's fair, in my opinion. I don't know, mayor or deputy mayor. I think that's good.
It would probably also make your lives easier. So that works.
Okay, and we'll keep that the same for the guest passes. Age 2 and up for guests. Anyone under 2 would be free.
Sounds good.
Okay. Senior discount. This came up a couple times as well. To give resident seniors a discount for the pool. The recommendation was possibly $100 registration fee rather than $150.
So I think with seniors we're generalizing because there are some that can afford and some that can't. And I know that we put a mechanism in place for seniors and young families also who can't afford to join. So I know that Medicaid eligibility was one thing. But I don't know necessarily that all the seniors in town have the same financial issues. So I wouldn't want to do that. A lot of the younger families in town are struggling also. And I think need-based would be a better way to do it than age. Just my opinion.
And I agree. And if the need that we said is not sufficient enough, I believe, and I apologize, I was confused Medicaid and Medicare. That was the number we used. If that's too high of a level, or really too low of a level to reach, if that needs to be expanded. But I think what Deputy Mayor Organ is saying is across the board, we don't want to generalize and say anyone over 65. Besides, because many of them are able to, and frankly, that's a sizable bulk of our membership. So I'm open to, over the next few weeks, figure out if there's another senior threshold other than that, if need be.
Sean, would you be able to navigate that if we do it as like a financial assistance type thing like we're doing for others?
Sure. Yeah.
Of offering for all?
Yeah.
So they could give proof of like the need and then we go from there, but not offer for all.
Yes. Yeah. We just have to identify in our software, you have to identify each thing that you're selling as a product. So we can discuss that later on. That's not a problem.
And I think with younger families, we said school lunch was, yeah. So we don't have to get involved.
Sean, did you have any issue with them providing documentation for you this past season? That worked out, right? Okay, perfect.
We had only a handful of those, but there was no problem there.
So, and while we're on that same subject, if this is the right time, there was also 1 or 2 generous offers of scholarships for multiple people. Not sure if this is the time to talk about it, but I believe it wasn't utilized. It was at the end of the summer. So that's something to figure out, that there was scholarships being made by generous people. At one point, I think Karen, remind me, 5, 6, 7 families were the offer was for? Somebody
offered to bring in 5 families.
5, so that's just something to sit there in the pricing tier for squeezing it down in the future, the scholarships.
Okay. Also on the agenda was having a prorated fee for joining after a certain period of time. I'm not sure everyone's feeling is on that. A lot of people found out late in the season that the town now took over the pool and they wanted to be a part of it, but they were disappointed that there was no discount for joining so late in the season.
Right.
Well, by default, that's over now. That was a one and done. Well, it's a one and done. And if you're not aware that the town has a pool by July 2026, my opinion is we should charge you double. But it's on the record, Doug. Put it on the record.
Okay.
And what are we doing in Sagamore Park? Sorry.
Now on the flip end of that, early registration discount. I know there was some talk about opening up an early registration period, possibly my thought was maybe March 1st. And if people did register early, possibly an incentive would be to give a few free guest passes to be used during the season.
So I know that the email went out and that's what got people talking about it. I don't know what the upside would be for us right now. Like for the swim club, when it was the swim club, I think they had needs, they had the financial need earlier. And so they wanted people to register early and pay earlier. If we have that need, great. If we don't, and it, you know, it doesn't make a difference to us if people register early or register later, if it's what makes your life easier.
I'm gonna answer that from a municipal law point of view. From a business law point of view, Deputy Mayor Organ is correct. From a municipal point of view, the only benefit would be if we were bringing this money in 2025 that we could then use in 2026. However, that said, the amount of money we're talking about is meaningless. You know, if we get a permit for a new building for 500 grand, that moves the needle. If we get 300 families to pay $300, it's not going to move the needle and compared to the headache. So because we're not that type of venture, such as a private swim club in need of payroll, I'm going to say that that's nothing. It doesn't really do it for us at this point. If in the future that we decide to raise the pricing, what we could do is maybe talk about, you know, keep the existing pricing for early bird. Something to talk about, you know, the future from that point of view. But from this point of view, I think we can punt this for now.
I just want to welcome Deputy Mayor Denise Belcher. She just hopped on the call as well, just to bring her up to speed on what we're talking about. Good morning, Denise.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
We just went over a few items, Denise, to bring you up to speed. It is recorded, but just so you know, we were just talking about some of the fees and bringing the kids in under 2 years as free. The fee schedule staying the same for next year at this time, since we did have such a large bump. Seniors giving proof of Medicaid to be offered financial assistance, and continuing our financial assistance program for families that are in need, and just also for scholarships for us. I know Deputy Mayor Organ had a family offering 5 free passes to someone in need. So we're going to keep that in mind for next year as well. And then that brings us right up to the early registration that we were just talking about, just to bring you up to speed on where we are with conversation.
Yeah.
Just continue along here. Refund policy is something that we would like to put in place. Refunds after a specific date, my feeling should not be allowed, but up to a certain point, maybe we can offer a partial or full refund. Any thoughts on that?
I want a no refund policy personally, but I leave up for discussion. I think we've had a couple, if it was medically, something happened, Sean and I discussed it internally, but offering the refund policies, we got people like halfway through the season that we had to, you know, kind of juggle balls in the air to say, if we gave for one, it kind of goes back and forth too many times. Sean, I think you said you did check with surrounding pools and they have a no refund policy once you have your membership. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're right. Garrett said the place that he came from, Stony Brook, had absolutely a no refund policy. They were hard. It was a hard no on that. So I'm okay with that if everyone else is.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it as well. I mean, unless there's some extenuating medical kind of one scenario that I would think you, Sean, and Jackie would, you know, maybe, you know, use as a takeaway. But I you know, no refunds is general, you know, a good general rule.
Okay. Let's see here. Financial hardship, we discussed briefly. Something we were going by this year was the reduced lunch program. I think it worked well. We did have just a handful of people that qualified for that. They had to show the proof that they were on the lunch program, and then they were granted that. Any problem there?
Nope.
Okay.
No, that sounds good. But do you think that, I'm just curious as to how is that socialized? Is it socialized only if families ask?
Right. We did not put it out there. If people came to us and, said, is there a discount? We would let them know about that, but we did not publicize it.
Mhm.
The same thing as with camp, right? If they wanted to go to sports and arts, there's a mechanism. They just
Right.
have to ask.
Um, sorry, it was not on me, but I do think we should advertise that some way. I mean, it's just, I mean, with all due respect, it's a great optics for the town. You know, we're not just here to take money, we're here to offer help.
Sean, I think you have a little blurb in the flyer that you shared with me from last year, right? Like for financial assistance, or was that just for?
For camp, we do. We refer them to a specific phone number. It's county financial.
Okay, so that wasn't for us. Okay. Just curious.
Okay.
Even I kind of agree with Mark to say that, I think we should maybe have it just some way in which people know that, hey, listen, if families that are in need of assistance, that there is a mechanism that's in place, even if it's, I don't know how you do this, and I don't know if it's necessarily wanting to go outside of the township to the county, but maybe it's, a form that they fill out or going to the social worker or whatever the case may be. Because some of the feedback that I received is that it was hard for people to understand the fees that went from Voti Park to the community pool. And the negative kind of pushback was that, how can families afford this? And I would then have to say, hey, listen, for those families that are in need, there is a means by which they can get assistance. So maybe to even like the fine print at the bottom of something, at the bottom of the website, to say for those families that are in need of assistance, please click this QR code or please reach out to, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it is the social worker. Maybe it is, you, Sean, or someone that you designate. But knowing that it's not just, we're not giving this to anyone, any and everyone, there is a means by which you have to prove that you're on reduced lunch or whatever the case may be. Just a thought.
Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely put that in our literature. All right, moving on. Make sure I have everything here. A communication system. I know that people who registered for DaySmart and set up their account got the membership with us. When we sent a notification out through DaySmart, some were not receiving it, and I think it was because they had a toggle switch off for notifications. There isn't a capability of having text alerts for members that we're looking into. So we're going to look into that. I think information hits texts. People read texts more than they do emails. I know that's the case for me. So if it was a simple text alert that went out saying, the pool is closed due to bad weather, it would hit people right away, and they wouldn't find out the hard way when they came to the pool that we were closed. So that's something we're looking into there.
Great.
For rules and regulations, a couple things came up this year. The use of snorkels, water weights, pull buoys, kickboards. I guess the swim club did allow that in their lap pool and in their main pool as well. We had in our rules and regulations that was not permitted. There was a lot of kickback. So we were thinking about having one of the lap lanes to be used for water exercise and like a walking lane, possibly certain times of the day. possibly just one lane specifically for that. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
My mother's a walker, so nice people would let her walk to the side in their lane while they were swimming, but I'm sure a lane for walking, it is exercise for seniors that can't swim anymore.
Right.
I like that idea, but I'm not sure about the kickboards. I think splashing is going to bother other people. Maybe the kickboards could be in the main pool. I don't know, unless somebody really needs it to swim or they don't splash. You know, like I don't, kickboards make me think
I
of,
think it should be on a case by case, and maybe
okay,
the manager can approve whether that's allowed at a certain time or not. Because if it's not a busy time, and it's not affecting anybody, then why not?
okay.
I know that lap swimming is very popular down at the pool. I was very shocked in that first season to see how many lap swimmers we have. And some people are dedicated. They do it every day, the same time every day, whether rain or shine, they're there swimming their laps. But there are some people that came to us saying, you know, part of their physical therapy is walking with water weights or using a snorkel, so that they didn't have to turn their head from side to side to get a breath. So I think a case by case, you know, approved by the manager on duty, would be the way to go there.
People very much appreciated that the main pool was used for laps when the lap pool was closed. I got a lot of kudos for that.
Yeah.
And Sean, I'm going to probably say that right now, every single one of those people is on the Zoom right now, completely shaking their head. Half of them are probably heading down to your office right now if you take that away. So just lock it up, lock the door, and come back to the Zoom. But thank you to all those who can't be talking right now. We heard you, we see you, and when you come across to speak to Karen and myself, look both ways before you run across Sussex to talk to us.
And keep sending emails because we're reading them.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it's a case by case, Sean, is good. Or even, you know, some kind of timeline. I don't know. When I think of kickboards, I'm thinking more of like lessons, like swim lessons. You know, I mean, like people are like, you know, needing to be like Karen was saying, your mom is wanting to walk. So maybe they're, you know, having a designated time to have people to maybe you know, practice or to do whatever kind of like you know, water exercises. I think that's a good idea, and I think the provision for it is wise.
Yeah. So to have maybe a sign on one of those lanes, for a walking lane or an exercise lane, might be the way to go. And then depending on, you know, the situation, they're allowed to do that, or people who are, you know, swimming laps can do it themselves. Private lessons allowed in the lap pool during certain times. So this first year, we did not have swim lessons. It's something that we would like to bring to the community pool. We've talked extensively about it. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but private lessons, I think the way to go is to do this also in the private, in the slow lane or a lap lane, just kind of off to the side. Anyone have any concerns or feelings on that?
Only in that if somebody was waiting for, if there was a line for lanes, if people were waiting and now somebody schedules a private lesson, do they then get the lane and somebody else who was waiting doesn't have it? So is there a certain time of day that we could do private lessons before that pool opens?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just you know, something that was brought up during the season, and it's, you know, open for discussion.
I like the idea of lessons, and maybe, you know, putting a time frame. Maybe lessons are from and to a particular time. So that those people that are, you know, experts can know, okay, well, this is time of day where there are private lessons. But I love the idea of lessons. I mean, I think more people need to know how to swim. So to provision many people, opportunities to swim, private lessons or otherwise, good idea.
I'm going to start my story. I actually was a municipal lifeguard, and then I taught in Spring Valley. Then I taught lessons for 2 summers as well. And what we did was the first hour of the day before the pool was open, it was free lessons. So we basically was the town had. I was the only teacher on duty, the only water safe WSI on duty, and I taught the lessons. Not a lot of people showed up. It was a great offering. I had taken it when I was a resident, when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. And so, yeah, it's some of the prices to think about if we do have WSIs on staff, if there is an hour earlier for free lessons. Definitely very good optics at a very low price that we can offer. Just my thoughts, and I agree with Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Okay. This was brought up before, carrying over guest passes conditionally from, I know we did not allow that this year, but if people bought guest passes, would we allow them to carry them over from next year to the following year?
I very much think we should. I think we cleaned up the paper guest pass, done. But I think people will be more likely to buy them if they know that they're not going to lose them. And then it'll save a lot, that last Labor Day weekend when people are scrambling. I think, I don't see the downside if it's already in our system and they're paying for it. It just carries over to the next year.
Right. So I guess part of that is if they happen to not register the following year and now they have those guest passes on their account, what happens to those guest passes?
So that would be their gamble. I don't think you need to track that down. I wouldn't do refunds, but I think if somebody has them and they're joining the next summer, I see no reason why they can't use them.
Would they carry on, maybe if they decided not to register the following year, but maybe the second year, would they still be on their account and would they be able to use them?
I also don't see why not. If it's not too hard for the software to.
Yeah, we'll have to look into, we'll look into that for sure. But maybe not put an expiration date on guest passes.
Yeah.
That's something we can do.
Another complaint I had was not being able to pay on site for them. Is there any way we can have people buy them online or while the rec department's not open? Or is that too much for the system?
For guest passes?
Yeah.
They could do that. We actually,
can.
one of our badge checkers actually created QR codes that they could scan, and it would bring them right to the site so that they could purchase their guest passes online. So they could do
Amazing.
that. Yeah, they could do that all summer long.
Great.
Yep. Lost and found. Items at the end of the season to be discarded. Someone asked if we could have all the lost and found items outside on a table. We thought against that. Garrett and I discussed that it would be an overflow of wet towels and bathing suits and everything else on a table, and it would look very messy. But if somebody did lose an item, they could go to the office and ask if they could look through the items and find it. And I thought that would be a nicer thing. But as far as carrying over, we're going to discard items at the end of the season.
The other option is just to bring your stuff home with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or donate them to there's a nearby shelter, as many people know, right? But very nearby.
But we would have to put that in writing that we're going to discard everyone's items if they were not claimed on Labor Day, by Labor Day. This was an item that came up throughout the year. The original rule was that swim diapers were allowed in all the pools. And there was some kickback about that. And we changed that rule to 3 years and older could use the main pool. Jackie, you want to jump in on this one? As far as the age, we had to eliminate the age.
Right, Scott was able to guide us in the proper language that we should use in the pool based on, discrimination and making sure that the proper language was used for where the children should be if they are wearing a swim diaper, or those that have the ability, certain skills in swimming. So he shared with us the language that we currently use to keep the separation of having swim diapers in the main pool, which many members appreciated, so that they would be geared towards the kiddie pool to alleviate any issues that we might come up having to close our main pool, which would kind of handicap anybody from using that pool for 1 to 3 days, depending on testing the limits in the main pool. So
one of the thing that we wound up changing it to, that it stated that individuals who do not have basic swimming skills may not use the main pool or lap pool, rather than put a specific age on it. And I know that there was, some back and forth there as well. What is basic swim skills? We did a little Google search, and it was blowing bubbles in the water and being able to kick your feet. But I think we should just eliminate that completely, because it is subjective.
And people want to hold grandchildren, they want to hold their children. They may not be able to swim, but that doesn't mean that if they're not gonna make a mess in the pool, that their parents can't bring them in.
So I think we should be just leaving it at individuals using swim diapers are not permitted in the main or lap pool, and individuals wearing swim diapers are permitted in the kiddie pool, and just leave it at that. Any thoughts or concerns with that?
Works for me.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Moving on to property renovations and upgrades. So this is where Trevon is going to jump in here. There are a list of things that were done ahead of time to make the facility ADA compliant. There were things that needed to be done just for general improvements. But we do have some concerns moving into this next year. Number 1 on the list was the kiddie pool, which has a constant leak. Trevon, you want to jump in there?
We are starting excavation next Wednesday to do some exploratory digging to find some of the broken pipes and determine if we could do the repair in-house. We are hoping that we could do the repairs in-house. If not, we will have to seek out a contractor who could do it. But from what we found last year with the scope we did, we think we will be able to handle it, and we'll be starting that excavation next Wednesday.
Great.
Next up was the vendor for the snack stand. I know this was big, being that we just took over the facility. We did not have the opportunity to get the canteen to where it needs to be. But the thought was to possibly give a contract to a vendor for the season to do vending out of the snack stand. Some problems that I foresee are, do we give them certain hours of the day? Do we give them the opportunity to come and go as they please? Do we want somebody there at all times? And how do you hold them to that if things aren't going well? As some of the food trucks made mention to us, do you have to hold them to 7 days a week? If it's a rainy day, do we need somebody there? Anyone have any input there?
John, does Garrett have any experience in the other pool that he worked in with their vendor that they have a scope of certain time of day that's best, or the rules that they go by, the actual person? Might be helpful, to kind of
I don't think I asked Garrett that question, but I can surely reach out to him.
Because I was thinking maybe they have like a prime time of day they work where it's mostly attended, or the weekends they're there a little bit more because it would be maybe a little bit more busy with families.
Right.
Might be helpful for us to know what kind of time of day or what they expect from us if if we lease the space and they provide services.
Okay, I will reach out to him and ask him. Does anyone else have any input there?
I think it's important for us to sell some kind of food, even if it's ice cream on the inside without the ice cream trucks and people having to go outside now. It would be great if someone else could handle all of it. So yeah, I agree. We should see what's out there. And if there are companies that do this, minimum, I think we should be selling some snacks. I think it's part of the experience of going.
Okay.
I would agree. I think it's fun. I think they should be a fun experience for families in terms of, food and, but yet, easy for the township to manage. Yeah, if it means having an outside vendor to step in to do the heavy. I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Just going down the list here, the thought was possibly down the road to have a pavilion area, possibly for private events, possibly for our camps to use to have a lunch period for their kids. Just a thought that came up during the season. I don't know if that's a possibility this year. We'll look into some pricing on that. It's probably going to be quite expensive, but that's something on our radar.
I was very much in favor of a riverfront clubhouse where we could rent it out daily. There really is no place in town that you can rent that's not so expensive to have a birthday party, a family event, a graduation party. And it's the kind of thing that we could rent out, not just during the summer season, but, April through October, November. And I love the idea of that. I don't think it's an immediate project. I think we need to start to show a profit first if we do. But I think that's something that will help the facility, but also people in town. You don't have to be a member to rent it out. You could use it for the day and bring in, or even in the evening and bring in a caterer. I love that idea.
Okay.
I would agree. I think that similarly to what I have seen at even Van Song Park, where they have those pavilions where you can actually rent out. I actually had a family reunion 1 year, and we rented out one. So I think it's a great idea. I would agree with the Mayor Karen that it would be even potential other source of revenue if we're renting it out for individual organizations, our and so forth. Of course, I know we have to wrap parameters around, renting it, first to our residents and organizations and so forth. I think it's a great idea, and I think Riverfront would be even more exciting to have something there with this view. So I would agree.
Okay. Next up is an additional water fountain outside the men's room. We have a water fountain outside the family bathroom, and I believe there was another spot where they had a water fountain at one time outside the men's room. So that's something we want to look into as well.
Can we look into the bottle filling stations instead?
Yeah, I think Trevon, correct me if I'm wrong, the water fountain has a water bottle filler on it.
Yeah, it's a dual purpose.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, the one we installed has it, and the one when we putting in at the men's bathroom by that bathroom will have the same thing. That's an easy lift that has already been accounted for, and the remaining 275 we don't have much money to do some of I reviewed the list you sent, and we just have enough money, or just about to do the main things. So right now, as we speak today, they're doing the roof. They're doing over the roof. And after that is completed, we may only have like about 200 and maybe $70,000 remaining. So the water fountain definitely included, and some of the other stuff we will be able to do. The rest of stuff is mostly wish list. Jackie and we spoke about getting the basketball court done and the pickleball court. I think with that we'll be able to use up most of the funds for this year, and the other stuff will have to go into capital for future upgrades.
Yeah, just
Unless comes-
there were a couple smaller items on here, and it was more cosmetic, I think. You know, that we had a running water problem in the shower that Trevon knows about. Doorknob on the guard room, fixing up the gazebo, maybe with a little paint, possibly a new roof there. Pool lights was something that we had at Votee Pool, and I would like to see that at the community pool.
Yeah, well, with that, it's very difficult with this pool. This pool has stainless steel sides. We will have to cut into the sides and have professional welders come to install those lights. We'll have to open the deck to run electrical wiring. And we explored that earlier on, and we decided we weren't going to do it because we weren't having any classes at night that required the pool to be lit. And if we do decide to do that, the initial cost estimate was approximately $150,000 to do the lap pool and the main pool. I don't think we need it because we're not having any night classes.
Okay. Shades and tarps. I know that we were able to put up the old shades or tarps that the swim club had, and it got us through the season. But that's something we would like to see.
2 ones have been ordered.
Okay. Fencing is going to be needed around the facility. It seems to be an old fence, so that is going to need to be addressed at some point. The antenna for the lightning detector, it seems to be low on the roof, and it might not be getting the signal that is required. So that's something
that has been addressed. We have ordered. We have spoken to the vendor to get additional antenna coverage.
Okay. This was brought up numerous times throughout the season to have the refrigerator back by the canteen area. And I am, to me, that's not sanitary to have everyone going into a refrigerator to get food. And how do you police that? Someone could be grabbing someone else's lunch with dirty hands. I just don't think that's a good idea at all. And it did come up numerous times throughout the season. Anyone have any concerns about anything we spoke about? Okay.
Good job.
Future ideas and considerations.
Oh, could we just add one thing to, we did have complaints about mosquitoes. Can we do like a spray before the season?
Yes, absolutely.
And bees. Get my emails. Shout out to Tick for You, Tick for You is just listening. She emailed me about the bees, so I got that.
And for everyone listening, we are ordering more chairs, right? More new chairs. Some people complained that the chairs weren't cleaned, so maybe we could get someone to power wash before the season also.
Did we say we ordered more? I'm sorry if we missed that part. I just remember that reminded me that we were going to do that this winter.
Right. So, Siobhan, I'll leave this up to you. I know that your staff did some power washing down there. They did some chair repairs. Do you want to give us an update where we stand?
Yeah, we will continue to do, we have a lot of chairs that needs to be thoroughly cleaned. We will do those, and we are seeking quotes for additional chairs. We haven't gotten enough or numbers that we would like yet. So it's something we are looking into, getting new chairs. But for right now, we are just going to continue repairing as much as we could.
Okay.
We actually,
A question on that oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, is there in between, cleanings, like, are they cleaned in between, like, weekly or anything like that, or daily?
So the lifeguards, they do it daily as needed. Um, the facility was underutilized for a couple of years. They had approximately 450, I think, members. We have approximately 2,700.
Just under
So-
3,000.
Right. So we use a lot more chairs than they were using. There are a lot of chairs that weren't in use, and it was in storage for quite a while. So we had to bring those chairs out of storage and bring them up to usable standards. Like I said, we are continuing to do that throughout this downtime, and we are seeking additional quotes for additional chairs. But
Sure.
like I said, we haven't gotten numbers yet that is workable. So we continue to look. Now it's off season. Now we might get better prices. But like during the season, I mean, we started late and on short notice. We had like little over 3 months to get that facility up and running. And
Sure.
when we did realize we needed additional chairs, the prices during pool season were very high. So we are hoping that during this off season, we will get more favorable prices. But we will get back to you with whatever proposal we have. And hopefully we could afford some new chairs. But for right now, we are just working what we have.
Yeah, but as a general rule, like when families come and they said they can get like spray and wipe down their own chairs if they choose. Like in a gym, they can choose to wipe down their equipment or wipe down their chairs. They can, individuals can do it themselves, right? There's
Yes,
ample
definitely.
spray that's left there, or antibiotic wash that's there, right?
Yeah, definitely. And
We have wipes that they can use if they wish to
They can
wipe
use.
it down. Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
sure. Last item is future ideas and considerations for property upgrades. So I'm gonna one thing that we would like to see going forward is maybe a bigger and better slide. The one we have is it's old. It's not very high. It's a couple feet tall. Throughout the season, we did get some inquiries about possibly getting a new slide. So that is something that I would like to see. I think it would be a nice, fun thing for the kids and even adults alike. But anything else as far as future upgrades that we did not touch on?
I mean, eventually the clubhouse, and eventually perhaps an in-ground pool, enclosed pool for winter for the schools to use and for other schools to rent. But that's the wish list. That's not for anything to think about now.
And did we discuss the courts? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, another thing we needed to, so we had like 3 main things we wanted to accomplish for the next season. That was a basketball court, tennis court / pickleball court. and the play area for the kids, that area, that play set is very dated and is in need of upgrade, and to make it more inclusive. So we were hoping to get those 3 projects done this year, in addition to what we discussed previously. That's the only thing I think we can accomplish. We'll try to accomplish this year
That's
on
huge.
this big wish list.
I think we were going to try to look into
Second?
grant opportunities possibly for a playground. So we'll be keeping our eyes and ears open for that to see if we can get the funding through a grant. Anything else?
I was thinking maybe at some point, a couple of special events. Maybe we could open, like whenever they have their fireworks in Hackensack, where people go to Terhune Park, maybe people could come here and sit and join together. That would be fun. I was thinking the Sunday after the club closes, maybe opening it for the town staff to come with their families, doing a family fun day, and maybe one other event that we could have there to promote the club for the whole town, because even people who aren't members should be able to come at some point and then see it and maybe get more involved.
I have some other comments on that. It was, we discussed first responder discounts. I know whether it be our police or a fire, the ambulance corps has asked me to look into that as well, as you know, they volunteer their time significantly. So it's something over the winter to think about, whether it be a discounted registration fee or something. There's something to consider in that regard.
I know that.
We did have some employees inquire about a discount as well.
Mhm.
So that's
For our next meeting, we should probably discuss it.
yeah.
I know there were questions about the parking lot being paved. That is something we can't do because it's in a flood zone. And so we can't, I mean, there were multiple requests for us to pave the parking lot, but we can't do anything. DP wouldn't allow us to do it. So just, I saw that with one of the requests on your list, Sean. But just so you know.
Okay.
I'd like to revisit what Sean was saying about grant opportunities. I'd like to see if there's any way in which we could, I know this is, on our wish list, of enclosing and heating one of the, the pool facilities for our use for our students and schools and just our residents in general. And maybe perhaps there might be some grant opportunities out there that we could look at. Or at the minimum, if we could begin to maybe quote, get some estimates as what would it cost the township to enclose and heat a facility for year-round use.
I'll jump right on that and say, is Millennium aware of this project? They may not be aware, Mrs. Manager, of our assumption of this community pool. If we can maybe just advise Millennium Strategies about this.
Sure. I have spoken to Sarah from Millennium
Okay.
Strategies. I have her on alert for different things, such as the playground. I'll also let her know about an enclosure facility that we're looking to do for the property. I will mention I did gear her more towards the playground areas for this upcoming season to see if I could get some sort of matching grant to assist with funding for this year, because I do realize three very large projects such as these upgrades, we will have to gear ourselves to the projects that would benefit the community as quickly as possible. I'd like to see some things turn over for our second season. So if the playground if we do one more season with the playground as is, I'd like to see the pickleball / tennis courts and the basketball courts to be in full use for the families at a minimum. That's my goal. But I will contact Sarah again to see if I have anything to apply for within the next few weeks to see if we could turn over the playground as well.
Perfect.
Okay. I think
Sean, did you have anything else?
No, I think we touched on a lot of things here, and it was a good first meeting. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And if we're all set, I think we can finish up.
Thank you, Sean.
Any last minute items?
Nope, but Doug, I know you're listening in the background. If you can do the same thing, re-attendance like you did for the last meeting, that'd be great.
You
Just
got
let us
it.
know. Thank you, thank you.
And if we could find out from Issa, numbers, how much the club took in this year, how much we put out.
Sure,
Okay.
no problem.
Excellent.
And thank you, Sean and Javon and Jackie and Doug for putting this meeting together.
Yeah.
For putting the
So,
pool together.
Thank you.
We will
Leave
set up another meeting in the near future to kind of go over some of these items we've all discussed and come to terms on the direction we want to go. So I'll keep everyone informed, and we will meet again.
And if anybody watching wants to reach out and speak or send us an email with a list, we're
Yes.
reading them. Okay.
Okay. Excellent, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Take care.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.